What's up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with your Remote Time Radio podcast with a special edition of Species Spotlight. This is, of course, for me when I've got a new delivery of a couple spiders that I ordered. Uh, the main one I ordered was the Posifera Metallica. I talked about this the other day when I did my spotlight on the Regalis, part of the Poke clan. And this one, though, is one of the more sought after species in the Poke genus. Mainly because of its coloration, but also just a fantastic looking spider. So I ordered it from a place called Old Pueblo Exotics. I've never done any business with them, but I will say very professional, very quick response. Even when they send it out through the mail, they send me emails. They're up to date, keep track of everything. Affordable. That's something that's very big for me. Like, the tarantula hobby is not cheap, but I think at the same time, whenever you're dealing with especially exotic species, you have to kind of be reasonable about it. Like, I think that people kind of take people for granted a little bit when it comes to the hobby, which is unfortunate. But I got mine for a very reasonable price. And they had a freebie, which I didn't really expect. I wasn't really paying too much attention. I was just focused on Poke. But they had three options. I could have got another Regalis. I have one already. So I'm kind of right now just sticking to one of each species. So I have 21 currently that I work with, that I have. I'm not a breeder of anything. It's just my pets, my love for the tarantula hobby and the spiders in general. The Posifera Metallica is a common name is Goody Sapphire Ornamental, Metallic Blue Ornamental, or Peacock Parachute Spider. It's arboreal. It's native to Southeast India. It's a fast grower. It is an old world, has potent venom, so it doesn't kick hairs, but like the other pokies in the genus, you get bit, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable for a few days. Not a pleasant feeling. I strongly urge, do not handle these spiders. I know some people do. That's fine. That's their business. But it's a risk not only to you, but to the spider itself. They don't have emotions. They can't feel for you like we do for them. So handling them is not a great idea. There are other hobbyists that have been in this much longer than I have that also endorse not handling the spiders, but people are going to be who they want to be, right? Unless, of course, you're transferring from, enclosure to enclosure or cleaning them out, like that makes sense. But still, I have catch cups and stuff. I don't attempt to grab them or startle them or anything like that, or even want to drop them. So definitely want to stay away from that. This is the type of spider for advanced hobbyists, without a doubt. I've been into this hobby now for about 4 or 5 years. So I've built up from when I started. I had a Chilean rose like way back when I first met my wife, and didn't really know much about spider keeping. It was like a basic aquarium astroturf. I just did not know enough about how to take care of them. However, God, my nose is itchy. However, I did. My spider did live for quite a long time in that enclosure. So even though I wasn't doing it the way that I learned through Dave's Little Beasties on like bioactive substrate and stuff like that, I still did a good enough job with the spider. I wasn't like harmful to it or anything. It did eventually die. But now, like through watching videos, researching a little bit, I have a little bit a better understanding about the spider, especially the different species, humidity levels, heat, etc. Uh, I'm not perfect still. Like I do things I probably shouldn't do in terms of like checking in on them a little bit when they're sealed away because like I worry that they might die or something. But no harm has come to them. I usually when I find them and they're okay, I just like okay, they'll just reseal it and go back to their business. Uh, but overall, I've done a pretty good job. Had some spiders that had in the past where just one got impacted. Not much you can do. I tried to save it by wetting its spinnerets and stuff to try to loosen up the poop and stuff, but it just didn't save it. And another one's got like a bugs or mites or something. So, and those are the times you have to kind of clean everything out, make sure you're not having any other infections anywhere else. So it happens, these things happen sometimes. So, but for the most part, all my spiders are fine. They're all in their own enclosures. Probably the next step for me would be getting maybe a Balfouri. We don't tell Missy because that's one of the ones that we can commune, so they can actually have more than one in there. You can have almost up to 30 of these spiders together, which I don't really have room for, but to have a Balfouri would be very cool. They're just unique looking spiders, very cool looking spiders. But so the freebie I took from Old Pueblo is the Mexican gray rose. Very cool spider. These photos I give you are kind of much the larger versions, the adult versions of these spiders. This looks almost like an Arizona blonde, or almost like a curly hair a little bit. Uh, it's more of a terrestrial spider, whereas the Goody is more of the arboreal. Uh, the gray rose or rose gray is basically from Mexico, so it's down there. It's an opportunistic bit burrower. Uh, has a slower growth rate, but that's fine. I usually just take care of my spires the way I can. Some grow a little faster. The pokies grow really fast. I have a striata and a regalis, and now I have the Metallica. Really, really love these spider hobby. I was kind of joking around yesterday. I was talking with my niece. I love her to death. Uh, Tony and I, for our Ghouls of Midnight, for our entertainment portion of my channel, looking to do some merch like shirts and maybe some cups and stuff. So I was teasing her that maybe I should get her to kind of dress up in a metal shirt and some goth makeup or something, and then hold two of my more tame tarantulas. And she had no part of that. She wants no part of that at all. But either way, it was fun to have some fun with that with her. But I did get these two new ones. So I have a little video that I was doing where showing me transferring over to their enclosures or smaller ones right now because they're tiny and early juvenile stage. The other one's a bit more the Mexican rose gray is a little more of a spiderling, but the metallic is a little bit more of a juvie at this point, which is good. But yeah, here's the video of me transferring them over. All right, so got a couple of new spiders in. I'm going to show you guys. Both of them are spiderlings, basically. First, my Poecilotheria metallica, Goody Sapphire ornamental, Old World arboreal. We'll get to her in a minute. And then a freebie I got is the Mexican Rose Gray. And you can kind of see her in here. So I'm going to try to pause this real quick, and then I'm going to restart as I transfer them over. And hopefully it all goes well. Okay, so first we're going to go ahead and do the Mexican Rose. They did a good job of basically kind of dampening and let you kind of look at her there. Should be able to see her. I always call them she's to start, but there we go. Okay. So she's all in there. Probably because I think I have an ISO in there. It's a little bit too large for her, so I might need to go and I'm not sure the best way I want to do this one. I don't know if I want to go through the side or through the top. We'll figure it out here. There she is. We have it. Now she's a little bit larger than the other one, but this should be good for the time being. Let's see if I can pull it off. And you can see her right there. As for the Mexican rose hair, right there. So I do need to check her though, because like I said, I think I have an isopod that's almost the size of her, and I don't want it to eat her. A little bit too big. But yeah, my two new additions to the Noobs Tarantula hobby. So yeah, I ended up moving the Mexican rose gray into a smaller container because you can see the holes on the side and on the top a little bit there. I was a little worried they're a little bit too big and that she's small enough that she probably could sneak out of them. So I don't really want her to get out. So I moved her into a circular container, the ones you usually find at like expos and stuff. And so the holes in the top of that are much smaller, but she still has air and stuff. So, but I moved her out of that because I was a little worried that she's a little bit too small to be in that one right now. So obviously, there's no danger of any isopods that are larger than her in that other container either. So, did a lot of that. So, yeah, those are my two new ones. I now up to 21 different species in my collection. I'm going to continue to do spotlights on all of them eventually. I've done a few already. Excuse me. But I'll get around to doing some for these two eventually when I do specific. I'll wait for them to get a little larger. When I know they're kind of out of the clear in terms of like, survivability. Sometimes when they're young, they just end up dying with no reason at all. But so far, I've been doing a pretty good job. So I'm pretty proud of myself in the hobby itself. So yeah. But yeah, go check old Pebble Exotics if you're into the hobby. Like they're really good. I'm going to tag them a little bit. I'm going to share this video with them. But very impressed with their professionalism. Their packaging, everything was great. They had some warm bags, even though it's been really warm. I liked the one thing I really liked that they did was The paper towels that the spiders were wrapped in were a little bit damp, which is what you're supposed to do anyway to keep some sort of water for the spiders during their travel. But because it's been so hot, in U.S. right now, especially in Delaware, so it's kind of nice that they were extra attentive to that. There was another company that I was going to order my Goody from, and in fact, I did order it. But this just kind of tells you the difference in how Old Pueblo approached things as opposed to them. I'm not going to give the name of the other one because I'm not here to really slam people in the business. That's not what I do. But just how they handled everything in terms of communication and stuff like that, it was worlds different. So I ended up canceling the other order and going with Old Pueblo, and was very impressed with the way they handled everything from top to bottom. So kudos to you all. Great job. I will definitely promote your site and tell people about you and your services and whatnot. So many thanks. Yeah, so got some stuff coming up later in the week. Vintage Cult Cinema. We're doing Sci-Fi Century and I are doing a review on Equilibrium with Christian Bale from the early 2000s. And then Saturday, getting together with Kevin Lambert and Sci-Fi, I believe, to review Young Guns with Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen, and so on. And then later in the evening, Olvin and I teaming up again for Silver Screen Savants for Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. So we're going to start there, and we'll probably end up getting to the other films at some point. But we're just continuing on with different movie reviews. If you guys like entertainment and whatnot, and you're outside of this tarantula hobby, like talking music or movies or whatever, check out some of the other videos we have. Mr. Tony and Dan and I do Ghouls at Midnight every week, where we just alternate picks of movies that we choose to watch. Generally, it's in like the horror, sci-fi, nature, thriller, but sometimes we throw in a crazy one that's really not horror at all, but just depending on our vibe at that moment. But yeah, check it out. Let us know your thoughts. Please, if you see people that I collaborate with on my channel, go and like and subscribe to their channels. A lot of great content out there with those guys. And of course, like and subscribe to here. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about my 2 new additions? What do you think? See you later. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You see me before you die. Find the